What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hammerdown Motorsports. My name is Steve Fast, and behind me we have the collaboration between Truck Central and Hammerdown Motorsports, the V8 swapped S10 four-wheel drive. Today we're going to be getting this truck running once again and installing a new fuel pump. So as the weather in Pennsylvania would have it, it is about 90 degrees and 100% humidity, so it is absolutely pretty much like being inside a steam room because it's been raining like crazy for the last couple of weeks, and now it is super hot. So this is going to be pretty fun to get this thing out because it doesn't have a whole lot of room. As you can see, on a normal 283, you're going to have a lot more room than this little area here to get the fuel pump out. I think most of this job is going to have to be done from underneath. So the blacktop is probably somewhere around 110 degrees. This is going to be fun. So there's no sense putting this off any longer. Let's get this old fuel pump out. So if this is any indication of how hot it is, yeah, it says 115 degrees. Now, obviously the truck's been sitting in the sun. It's not exactly that hot, but it's pretty close. And if you're wondering why my engine light's on, it's due to that horrible DEF stuff. It's going into the dealership this week, get a few recalls done, and they're gonna take care of that, but really nothing to worry about. So I told the parts store what I had in the truck, and this is the fuel pump that they gave me. I'm hoping that it is the right one. We're not gonna know for sure until we can take the old one out and put them side by side. But hopefully everything will work out and we'll have enough pieces to get this thing to run. All right, we got both of our lines off. The rubber line actually broke off when I was trying to get it removed after I removed the clamp. It's on there pretty good and it seems a little bit dry rotted, but we got the steel line off as well. Next thing, we're just gonna get our two bolts out and we can remove this pump. So we got our old pump out. As you can see, this is more of like a chrome kind of flashy deal rather than this just plain factory style one. But we do have our hose here that's still stuck on the end of our fitting. As you can see, it's in pretty rough shape. So we're gonna cut the rough end off this hose that's on the truck and make sure we have a nice seal on this fitting so we don't have any air leaks or anything like that into the system. When I did pull this one off, you could definitely smell fuel, and it may be just me, but I don't think that fuel's supposed to be on the drive side of this pump. It seems to me that the diaphragm in here must have failed and it's no longer able to move fuel up to the carburetor. So our new pump should be our fix, because the way I tested this one was when the truck died, I tried turning it over, it wouldn't start. And I put a little bit of starting fluid on the carburetor and it started to sputter. So obviously our issue was fuel, not spark or air or anything like that. So fuel pump is definitely the easiest way to go. So I guess we're gonna find out when our new one's installed. So we ran into a little problem when I was switching over the fittings. This is the fitting that came with our new pump, and our old pump just had this style fitting goes directly into it for your fuel line to attach. But unfortunately, these are two different sizes, so I'm gonna have to look and see what I have, if I might have an adapter where I can adapt this to this. Otherwise, we're gonna have to go to the hardware store and try to figure something out. Okay, I think I found a solution for our problem. What I have here is a couple different fittings that I found laying around. And this one fits into here, and then this 90 here is able to accommodate our other fitting from our original pump. And what you want to do, these are all pipe thread. You want to put a little bit of thread sealant. I use Loctite 587, which is basically the same as using a Teflon tape. But with pipe thread, you always want to have a little extra insurance, and with the Loctite 587, I've never had any issues with leaks. So as luck would have it, our barb fitting from our old pump also is the wrong size, so we're not able to actually screw this into our new pump. So I have to go to the store and get a smaller size thread barb fitting. But what we have here with these fittings is actually going to help us out, because before, when the fuel line would go into this pump, it was actually a little bit too high up and it was touching the rad hose. So by having this a little bit lower down, that's going to keep us from eventually rubbing through that radiator hose. So it just got out of Lowe's and I went through all their fittings and they absolutely have nothing in 1/8 inch pipe to the right size barb that I need, or even the fittings to make it work. So I do have the fittings at home that will make this all work. I just didn't want to have more fittings than necessary and make that thing extra long, but really there's nothing more I can do at this point, so we're just gonna have to roll with that. So after a fruitless search at Lowe's, I'm gonna end up having to do what I didn't want to do in the first place, and that's use these two fittings to make everything work. This is an 1/8 of an inch pipe to 1/4, and what we're gonna do is put that in our adapter that is on our fuel pump. Then we can use this coupler here to allow us to use the barb that was on our old fuel pump. Okay, we have all our fittings tightened up. Now we're ready to put this Frankenstein into the truck. So now we've hit another roadblock in our adventure of replacing this fuel pump and getting this old truck running once again. This piece right here is not going to work. Just the way that this sits up against the engine, this part is now in the way of the frame. So any more length than just this fitting sticking out itself is going to be in the way of the frame rail. So basically what I'm going to have to do is order an adapter or a 45 possibly to make this all work, but I'm going to try to see if I can find the proper barb fitting that's going to fit this pump. So just another roadblock in this project, but we will get the right parts and get this thing done as soon as we can.
Alright, so this is a little thing that I wanted to do. It's something that we don't really do a whole lot here on the channel, and that is the mail time segment. I kind of wanted to start it off by just getting people to send their stickers, because I've got the cabinet here in the garage where I'm trying to load it up with stickers. I've got the toolbox in the race trailer. So if you guys want to have your sticker put on either one of those two things that appear in videos from time to time, definitely send them. Just takes a stamp, throw it in an envelope, put a message in there if you want. I can give you a shout out on our little mail time segment. I'm trying to get this all going, but this is our first piece of mail that I've gotten in a little while, so let's check it out. All right, we got a letter here. And we have some stickers. I have had this in the description, but I've never really mentioned it on a video, so I don't know if too many people have saw it. But there is 2 stickers in this as well. This is from Old Car Auto Sales. He got the one sticker here, and he also has a YouTube channel and Instagram. So this is the decal he sent me from that. It is Old Car Auto Guy. Definitely check him out on his Instagram and YouTube as well. We do have a letter here as well. It says, "Hi Steve, just dropping a line to say hey from St. Stephen, New Brunswick. We are situated in a bordering community with Calais Marine." I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but I hope I am. If I didn't, I do apologize. Thank you for the great content. I have enclosed a couple of stickers for the old toolbox, an Old Car Guy one for my YouTube channel, and a dealership decal used on my lot. With any luck, I can get a shout out and help build my channel as well. Hopefully these stickers reach you in time that your channel reaches 10,000 subs. Well, I am shooting for 10,000 subs this year, but I guess fingers crossed. Your friend on YouTube and fellow Canuck, Jason Carr, aka Old Car Guy. Well, thank you very much, Jason, for sending the stickers. If you guys want a shout out on the channel, definitely just throw a couple stickers or a sticker in an envelope. Write a letter if you want to, put a stamp on it, send it to the P.O. box, and you can be featured on this part of the channel.
Well, everybody, parts have arrived and the weather has finally cooperated. We've gone through more rainstorms than I could count at this point, but we do have the right barb fitting now, so we're going to get everything swapped over onto our fuel pump and get this thing installed in the truck. So now we can remove this monstrosity, install our new fitting, and hopefully this gives us all the room that we're going to need. So it looks like our new fuel pump will work with the fittings that we have. The only problem is there is a little rod that comes off the crankshaft and actually hits that lever on the fuel pump, and that's what kind of actuates it and allows it to work. But the rod actually falls down when you don't have the lever in place. So now what you have to do is kind of push it up and then get your new pump in place at the same time. But gravity makes that rod keep wanting to fall down. So you basically have to try to hold it up into place and get your fuel pump in at the same time in this tiny little space. So yeah, fun times. So as simple as these fuel pumps are to install, when you put a V8 engine in a little tiny S10, you make your life pretty horrible. So we had to take out the rod. This is actually the rod that runs the fuel pump, and the plate. This is the only way to get the rod out of the engine. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some heavy grease on the end. So when we put this back up in the engine, hopefully it'll stay up long enough that we can get the little lever that goes underneath the rod into place. So right now I can get the rod up, but I can't get the pump into place because my hand's in the way, and there's no real way that I can hold the rod up and get the fuel pump in place at the same time. So this is pretty much our last ditch effort. So putting the grease on the rod that drives this fuel pump was a great idea. It ended up holding it right into place. I had no trouble at all bolting the pump into place after that. But unfortunately, where our barb fitting is, the angle can't be changed on the pump. It's kind of pointed towards the frame rail. So what we're gonna have to do is get a 45 fitting so we can kind of get that up out of the way. Because when this engine moves, it's gonna end up snapping off that fitting and causing us all kinds of issues. So once we get a new fitting, we should have no problem with clearance or anything like that. So I'm gonna have to go to the store and get one of those. The saga continues. Well, everybody, we are back at it again. I got a 45 fitting for our barb fitting on our fuel pumps, so hopefully this is going to give us enough clearance. So let's get it installed. So I ended up pulling the pump one more time just to get all the fittings in place. Hopefully this is going to give us enough clearance with our frame rail, but through this learning process, I am getting pretty good at putting this fuel pump in. So upon further inspection of our fuel line that actually screws into the pump below and goes right up to our carburetor, I noticed there are some pretty ugly bends and kinks in this line, which is definitely going to give us some fuel restrictions. So when I go to the parts store to get the stuff for the oil change for this engine, because I'm going to change the oil because I'm pretty sure some fuel got into the engine when the fuel pump failed, so we don't want to have fuel in our engine, doesn't have any lubricating qualities, and probably is not going to be good for our bearings, so we're going to change out that old oil. Not to mention we aren't able to check it, so we actually don't know how much oil is in this engine. We are going to get a new fuel line, and I'm going to make some nice bends and make sure that this is all nice and can flow freely. We can get enough fuel for our carburetor and give us all the power possible. But I think we are ready to do a test fire just to make sure that our fuel pump and everything is working properly. So let's fire it up. Listen to that beauty purr. I can't say that I'm a big fan of the straight open header exhaust, but I think we're gonna have to do something with that very soon, but the truck is running once again. So now that the truck is operational once again, we can actually do some more fun stuff with this project, and I can't wait to get started. So I hope you guys enjoyed the longest fuel pump replacement ever, but we did get it done at the end of the day, and that's what really matters. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Keep that hammer down.